Bright afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 2 and we will talk all about the market integration. So, I am Samantha Juliet de Cruz and I will be your first discussant for this afternoon. So, let's start with defining what is market integration. So, market integration refers to the blending of economies across borders, such as trades, investments, and many more transactions. Market integration is also when the price of similar goods or services converge across locations. This is what we call the law of one price. So now we will move on to the Bretton Woods system. So to understand the system exists, we have to look back at the aftermath of the two world wars. After years of global conflicts, leaders weren't just looking for military truce, they were looking for a way to ensure long lasting global peace through the economy. So, the core belief was simple: countries that are economically intertwined are less likely to go war with one another. So, to make this happen, they aim to create a network of global financial institutions designed to promote interdependence and shared prosperity. So this vision of them became reality in July 1994 when delegates met at the Washington Hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to officially inaugurate this system. So, what really sparked this approach or this system, the Bretton Woods system? So, the economists and leaders realized nga ang key factor daw sang the Great Depression was the lack of cooperation sang mismo nga mga states or nations because gina-look out lang nila ang ila lang gid self or ila lang gid state ang ila ginapanumdum. Wala nila wala nila balagi na consider ang iba niya nations since they are also self-centered lang gid. So which this led sa amo na ilang approach is nagled siya sa the global collapse. So because of this, with the help of the Bretton Woods system, this was heavily influenced by the ideas of John Maynard Keynes. So Keynes argued that to manage the capitalism and the need for international institutions to stabilize currencies and provide loans. So essentially, this system daw was built to ensure that no country would have to face economic ruin alone or hindi nila para lang may upod sila since with the help of Bretton Woods system naging interconnected or which nagahelp again maging interdependent ang iban nga countries sa or states or nations sa iban paging nga country nga nakalink sa ila. So this creates a safety net that supports the global market as a whole. So that would be all.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessie Joy Gonzaga and I will be the one to discuss the main focus of Bretton Woods system. So first, it aimed at reducing trade barriers. After the war, countries often used protectionist policy like high tariffs and quotas to protect their own industries. But this slowed down the global trade. When we say tariffs, that is the taxes on imports and quotas naman is the limits on quantities na gina-imports nila sa country. So Bretton Woods envisioned on reducing these barriers to allow free trade. And the free trade is where goods and services move between countries with minimal restrictions. The belief was that free trade leads to greater prosperity for all. For example, instead of putting a 40% tax on imported cars, um, a country lowers it to 5%. So this makes cars cheaper for buyers and helps the foreign producers to sell more. So another focus was to allow money and investment to move easily between countries. So stable economies and clear rules made the investor feel safe to invest abroad. So this was important for rebuilding economies after the war and supporting global growth. And then next is creating a condition for global financial stability through a fixed exchange rate system. So, countries agreed to fix their currency to the US dollar, and the US dollar itself was tied to gold. Na ginatawag na nga dollar gold standard. So, this made exchange rates predictable and reducing the risk in trade and investments. So, for example, if one US dollar is equals to 50 Philippine pesos, the traders know exactly how much to pay or receive, like avoiding the sudden financial losses from currency swings. So, stable currency also help countries plan their budgets, trade contracts, and investments with confidence.
Good day everyone, I'm Kimberly Fernando and I'm going to discuss about John Maynard Keynes' economic ideas. Economic crises occur not when a country does not have enough money, but when money is not being spent and thereby not moving. When economies slow down, governments have to reinvigorate markets with infusion of capitals. For example, Imagine Imagine a small town where everyone stops spending money because the people worry about the future. So they save every penny. Kasave sila biskan small amount. So shops get no customer, wala na customer. So they lay off workers. Unemployed people have even less to spend and the cycle gets worse. Even though the town still has the same amount of money and resources as before. Keynes said, "This is exactly how big economies work. Crises aren't about not having enough money, but they're about money getting stuck. Instead of flowing through the system via spending and investing, when total spending cold aggregate demand drops too low, business produce less, jobs disappear, and growth stalls. What should government do about it? Unsa ang dapat buhaton sa gobyerno?" So nakipag-argue si Keynes that when people and businesses won't spend, the government must step in to get money moving again. Kinanglan mo lihok sa gobyerno para ang kwarta maglihok usab. Una, spend more. Governments can fund public projects like building roads, schools, or hospitals. These create jobs and creating opportunities for others. Workers get paid, then spend their wages at local businesses. May enough na sila nga money para magbakal, which makahire pa sila og daghan nga workers. Ikaduha, cut taxes. Letting people keep more of their money income means they have extra money to spend or invest, which also boosts activity. So ginatawag kini nga counter-cyclical policy, acting against the economic tide, spending more when times are tough, and scale back when the economy is booming to keep it stable. Unlike earlier ideas that said government should always balance their budget, Keynes thought temporary deficits during downturns are worth it to avoid long-term unemployment and stagnation. Thank you.
I'm Andrian Cañete Eba. So, I am reporting key elements of the Bretton Woods system. Number 1, each participating state will establish a par value for each currency expressed in terms of gold or equivalently in terms of gold value of the US dollars as of July 1944. So sang Bretton Woods system sang year nga 1944, ang kada country nagkaisa gid sila kag nag-agree sila nga itakda ang per value. So sang ilang nga kwarta magambal ka nga per value gani amo na siya ang mga opisyal kag ang nagperma sang ilang nga kwarta sang isa ka lugar. Like for example, ang gold, ang mga bulawan naton kag ang US dollar nga gina-consider to equivalent to gold sang July 1944.
My name is James Herman and I'll be discussing the next element of a Bretton Woods system. The next element of a Bretton Woods system is the official monetary authority in each country. A central bank or its equivalent would agree to exchange its own currency for those other country in an established exchange rate. This means that each country's central banks promise to keep its currency's value fixed with other countries' exchange rate. In short, central banks are actively managing their currencies to maintain fixed exchange rate with other countries. It makes the exchange rate stable and predictable, which made the international trade and investment easier. That's all.
Hello everyone, my name is Jane Grace Corana and I'm gonna report the International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund was established at 1944 Bretton Woods Conference as the central authority tasked with overseeing the international monetary system. In the Bretton Woods system, the IMF acted as a manager and a lender to maintain global financial stability through a regime of fixed but adjustable exchange rates. The IMF supervised a system where member nations pegged their currency to the US dollar, which was itself fixed to gold at $35 per ounce. Nations were required to keep their currency value within 1% band of their agreed upon par value. The IMF provided short-term financial assistance to countries experiencing temporary deficits in their balance of payments. This allowed nations to stabilize their currencies without resorting to destructive devaluation or trade barriers. The IMF was funded by member countries through quotas based on their relative economic size. These quotas determined both a country's voting power and the amount of financial resources it could borrow from the common pool.
Bright morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Foroswello. I will be discussing the key elements of the Bretton Woods system. So, number four, the member state agreed to eliminate, at least eventually, all restrictions of the use of currency of for international trend. So, ang members sa countries ni agreed na i-remove ang restriction on using currency for international trend. So money can be used fairly when trading with other countries. So for example, the company of the Philippines buy a product with other countries, the government do not use restrict on use pesos, so the company can exchange pesos and pay SLA. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today, I'll be discussing an important part of global economic history, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, commonly known as GATT. So, after the chaos of World War II, the world needed a way to rebuild and stop countries from fighting trade wars. So, GATT was the solution created to keep the global economy moving through cooperation rather than conflict. So what is GATT? So it was established in 1947, right after World War II, and lasted until 1995. So dili ni siya actual gid organization nga may ara office. So ano lang ni siya legal agreement nga gi-sign sa 23 ka countries. So, what is the purpose of GATT? So, GATT had one main job to lower the cost of entry for products traveling between countries. So, it did this by focusing on the three main barriers, the tariffs, quotas, and subsidies. First, tariffs. So, amo ni siya ang mga taxes on imported goods. So, GATT push countries to lower these taxes so ang products wouldn't be expensive para sa mga consumers. So next is quotas. Amo naman siya ang mga limits on how much of a product can be imported. So ang GATT wanted to eliminate these limits. Next is subsidies. Amo naman siya ang paghatag sa government extra money sa ilang own local businesses. So to give them unfair advantage. So ang GATT ga-ensure siya ngang everyone fair gani. So, paano nag-transform ang GATT into WTO or World Trade Organization? So ang GATT, isa lang siya ka-agreement, di ba? Na kung kayo nang sign lang siya sa 23 ka countries. Wala siya office, may mga rules lang siya. So ang WTO, organization na gini siya. In 1995, ang GATT ga-evolve into WTO. Isa na ang WTO, kuwanan siya permanent institution nga naa sa Geneva, Switzerland, may large staff and kanang official na yung status sa international law. So one of the biggest reasons for the upgrade was enforcement. So under GATT, if ang isa ka country cheated, kanang lisod kay siya nga i-fix ang problem kay ang rules kay flexible and ang countries could easily block decision the way they didn't like. So ang WTO naman may gi-introduce sila dispute settlement body. Murag gaak ni siya like a court. If ang isa ka country breaks that rule or ang trade rule, ang WTO may power sila to authorize punishment para ang mga butang ma-fair. Thank you.
Bright afternoon, everyone. So my name is Lizzie Linon, and I'm gonna discuss about the WTO or World Trade Organization. So what is World Trade Organization? So the World Trade Organization or WTO is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. At its heart are the WTO agreement, negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trading nation and ratified in their parliaments. The goal is to help producer of goods and services, exporter and importers to conduct their businesses. So, ang WTO or World Trade Organization is usa ni siya ka global nga international organization nga gaatiman sa mga rule of law sa trading sa lain-lain nga mga nasud. Um, ang ilang headquarters is naa sa Geneva, Switzerland and may 152 members na sila dito sa 2008. So the goal of WTO is to help producer of goods services lalo na sa mga exporter and importers para sa yun og tarong ang ilang pagpadagan sa ilahang negosyo and manikayan nila ang kagubot or paglalisanay sa usag-usa. So WTO began life on January 1, 1995, but its trading system is half a century older. Since 1948, the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade (GATT) had provided the rules of the system. So the World Trade Organization or WTO is the only international organization dealing with the global rules of trade. Its main function is to ensure the trade flow as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. So ang WTO is mao ra gihapon ang lamang sa international organization. WTO has 164 member nation and 25 observer government. So WTO headquarters are located in Geneva, Switzerland. Director General Muzi Okonjo Iweala is the 7th Director General of the WTO. She took office on March 2021, becoming the first woman and the first African to serve as Director General. So, ang Director General sa WTO is mao ni siya ang nanguna nga officials organization. But right now, ang Muzi Okonjo Iweala mao ang ikapito na Director General sa WTO. She began March 1, 2021. And it is important because siya ang usa ka babae ug una nga taga-Africa nga nag-lead sa dakong posisyon sa kasaysayan sa WTO.
Good day, everyone. I am Janet Econofre from BSAIS 2A. Today, I will be reporting about International Monetary Fund, also known as IMF. The IMF is an international organization whose main goal is to promote microeconomic stability, not only for individual members' nations, but also for the global economy as a whole. Specifically, the IMF deals with exchange rate, balance of payments, international capital flow, and monitoring of member states under microeconomic policy. Another important detail about IMF is that it also provides financial assistance to countries experiencing economic crisis. For example, when a nation faces problems like high inflation, debt, and currency collapse, the IMF can lend money and give policy advice to economy. Currently, the IMF has a 190 plus members countries, making it one of the most important institutions in global finance. Its headquarters located in Washington, D.C., USA. Thank you.
Bright afternoon, everyone. I'm Angelica Flamor, and today I will explain what the World Bank Group is, how it started, how it is organized, and why it is important, especially the role of the World Bank or IBRD. So, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development is the most important element of the World Bank Group. It was established in 1944 and began operating in 1946. It was originally responsible for funding post-war reconstruction projects. It was a critical institution at a time when many of the world's cities has destroyed by the war. At present, it now deals with a broad range of issues related to economic development including population, education, health, social security, environment, and culture. So first, let us know what is World Bank Group. So it is an international development organization made up of 189 member countries. Kagang iyang nga main goal is to reduce poverty and improve living standards by helping low and middle income countries grow their economics. It does this by providing financial support, expert advice, and technical assistance to government. And ang organization nag-focus sa sustainable development, which means creating jobs, improving lives, and protecting the environment. The World Bank Group was created in 1944 after the World War II. At that time, many countries, especially in Europe and Japan, were badly damaged by the war. So, ang ilang cities, industries, and infrastructure were destroyed and many countries did not have enough money to rebuild their own. The original name of the World Bank was the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development or IBRD, and it was officially began operations in 1946. So the BIRD is the most important and original institution of the World Bank Group. Kagang iya sini main responsibilities at the beginning was to finance post-war reconstruction. Nag-provide siya sang loans to help countries rebuild roads, bridges, factories, schools, and public services. The IBRD played a critical role in establishing economics and help countries return to economic activity after the war. At, at time passed, the role of the World Bank expanded, so today it no longer focuses only on rebuilding after war. Instead, the IBRD now supports long-term economic development, especially in developing countries. Its current areas of focus include sa mga population and social development, education such as buildings and school and improving learning systems, then sa health including hospitals and healthcare access, then sa social security and poverty reduction. Next is sa environmental protection and sustainability. Then last is ang sa cultural and social aspect of development. So today, ang World Bank Group is may naanay 5 institution. Mauna siya ang IBRD, IDA, IFC, MIGA, ICSID. So first is the IBRD. So IBRD or International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which mao na siyang provide some loans and policies advice to low and middle income countries. Then second is IDA or ang International Development Association. Mao ni siya ang give grants and low interest loans to poorest countries. Then third is the IFC or the International Finance Corporation. Mao ni siya ang support sa mga private businesses and job creations. Then, ang MIGA or Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, mao ni siya ang mga ga-offer sa political risk, insurance to encourage investment. Lastly is the ICSID or International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Mao ni sa ang gahelp resolve disputes between investors and countries. So, do we need the World Bank Group? Yes, need natin ang World Bank Group kaya tungod kung wala ni, many developing countries would struggle to fund essential services such as ang ilang education, healthcare, infrastructure, and job creations. And then, what makes the World Bank Group unique is ang iyang ability nga maka-provide siya sang large-scale funding, ma-bring together governments and the private sector, and use global research and knowledge to solve development problems. It is also plays a major role in responding to global crises and it is It is also plays a major role in responding to global crises and promoting inclusive and sustainable growth. So, in conclusion, the World Bank, especially through the IBRD, was created to rebuild countries after the World War II. Pero subong ang mission niya is to reduce poverty, support global economic growth, and improve living standards around the world. In conclusion, the World Bank, especially through the IBRD, is ang iyang main goal lang sini is para ma-rebuild ang countries after the World War II. Pero today, ang iyang mission is para ma-reduce ang poverty, support economic growth, and improve living standards around the world.